for me when you look at this, because the act of pursuing a relationship while securing something that you already have, and that uncertainty, is it good, is it bad? I'm not quite sure. We'll find out from our expert Ernest Toho, a dating coach and founder of Justified Connect Singles World, which offers matchmaking services. And today we're going to be looking at something also very cool in our Becoming features. Now and then we profile someone very interesting in Becoming, look at their lives, and today we're going to be speaking to a content creator who has created wonderful blogs on social media, really looking at her real life. You know, sometimes we very much showing the blingy side of things on our Instagrams, you know, where we partied, where we stayed at a wonderful hotel, our travels, at home. But you know what? I'm interested in this one because she shows her life through her hardships in the township and how she's kind of navigating these different levels of struggle in her life. And I think it's very interesting to see how confident she is with this, but also how real she is. So how do we get real on social media? Maybe that's the lesson for today. And also, we have our parenting and family corner. What's happening there?
Absolutely. You know, it's important for children to play, but there's a dynamic that's been noticed, particularly in the heart of urban Kenya, where in schools they're using, you know, other kind of infrastructure to hold schools, and this infrastructure doesn't allow for enough space to play. So there aren't enough playgrounds anymore, even within the schooling environment. And we'll be speaking about that, how this new architecture within the school environments and the shortage of a space to play is undermining the well-being of children. That's a very important one.
Yeah, stay in touch with us. Our WhatsApp number is +27 634 69126. You can text us or voice note us there, or stay engaged on our various platforms. Come in, everybody. You're always welcome in studio. Remember, you can find us online as we're streaming live. Yes, we've got videos in studios. We've got our energy in studio, but we want you as the Channel Africa family to come in and sit with us as you have this studio experience. Remember, you can find it on our YouTube page at Channel Africa 1, or you can join us in that simultaneous broadcast on our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is simply titled Channel Africa. Let's go.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Mgombea urais wa chama cha wananchi CUF Gambo Samatindo ameitaka serikali ya Tanzania kuweza kutoa msimamo wao wa wazi kuhusiana na matukio ya utekaji watu. Tamko hili la mgombea huyu wa CUF mnalichukuliaje na nini mtazamo wenu?
Haya ndio masuala ambayo sisi kama watetezi wa haki za binadamu au shirika la utetezi tunapenda sana, ni moja ya kazi ambayo tunaifanya.
Lakini tatizo hili limekuwa sugu kwa hivi karibuni. Hili linaleta tafsiri gani kwa nchi ya Tanzania kiujumla? Mnasimamia wapi mpaka hivi sasa, na je, mmekwisha kutoa tamko lolote?
Ndio, sisi tulitoa statement yetu. Sasa ni jambo la kutisha sana kuona mambo yanaendelea, na inatisha sasa hivi sana. Watu wanaonekana kukasirishwa sana na matukio ya namna hii.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Get set and be ready to go. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
All right, we haven't spoken relationships in a very long time. That's what we're going to be doing today, looking at something that is a concept that I'm learning about today, monkey branching. Like a monkey swinging effortlessly from trees using one branch and grabbing another one in the next. Some individuals are moving in the same vein in relationships. This behavior, known as monkey branching, refers to the act of pursuing or securing a new romantic partner while still involved in an existing relationship. Rather than ending one connection before starting another, the individual maintains both, often emotionally or physically, until the new relationship feels enough to replace the old. According to experts, it's a pattern marked by secrecy, overlapping affections, and a reluctance to be alone. We discuss how monkey branching plays out in real life situations. Ernest Toho is joining us, a dating coach and founder of Justified Connect Singles World, which offers matchmaking services. Hey Ernest, it's always good to have you. Welcome back on the Move.
Good morning, Benjamin, and good morning, Palesa. Long time, guys. I miss you so much.
Morning. We miss
We
you
miss you
too.
too. Hey, you know what?
And good
It's
morning to the viewers, listeners, rather, as well.
fantastic. It's great to have you on the show. And this is a very interesting topic. I'm actually learning it on the show today. Monkey branching, right? It's already hard enough just being in one relationship, Ernest. Now, when you're trying to maintain one while starting a new one, could be probably a bit of a challenge. Tell us a little bit about this phenomenon.
Monkey branching is a thing. It's been there for the longest time. It's just that people are getting aware of it now.
Yeah.
And what you must know, people who are into it have the stomach for it. They've got the bandwidth for it, and they know how to navigate. It's called void intolerance. Some people just cannot have a gap in between relationships. Is it cheating? Yes, it is cheating. It's a form of cheating, and it's unfair to the other partner.
Mm-hmm.
And what must be said is why people do this, why people get involved in monkey branching. It ranges from fear of being alone, the hate of a quiet gap,
Sure.
avoiding hard talks, validation chase, new toy feeling. Guys would call it fresh vibes, and then practical text, and all of that. So you have different reasons why people get into, but all of it boils down to insecurity.
Hey, Ernest, we're struggling with your line there. Ernest, I can hear you, but you're breaking up a little bit. Very interesting one there. Let's see if we can re-establish this line with Ernest Toho, who's joining us today. We're speaking about monkey branching. It plays out in real-life situation. The common signs to look out for are there in terms of what we're going to be looking at in terms of the questions and how people on both sides of this behavior can actually navigate the consequences. Let's take a bit of a break and see if we can sort out that line, and then we'll be back.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go. Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chemane.
I've witnessed something fresh, something exciting, and something very inspirational from the president of the country, William Ruto. Whenever athletes are performing to their best level, he always comes on board to reward those athletes, be it football, be it athletics, and not leaving it up to the sport ministry.
The president realizes that sports is a business, and for that reason, he also reduces the number of people who are jobless, because sports now is such a serious business, and for that reason, commercialization of sports is a major way of improving or increasing employment opportunities for the young people, and that is why the president has been very persistent in trying as much as possible to inspire more sports personalities to reduce the baggage of the people who are struggling to get job opportunities in the country among the young people.
Francis FM Mutegi, our correspondent from East Africa in Nairobi, Kenya.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
All right, so we've got Ernest Toho, dating coach and founder of Justified Connect Singles World Better on the line. Ernest, you were talking a little bit about the nature of this topic we're speaking about today, monkey branching. And I want to get your thoughts in terms of what is it about monkey branching that actually makes someone do it? You were speaking about the fact that they are avoidant of being alone, and you also were speaking around the fact that, at times it's just wanting something new.
So absolutely, sorry for the mix-up there with my line. It's correct. It's called void intolerance. It's a thing. Some people have a struggle staying alone in between relationships, so that can be a motivation. Otherwise, it's people who just want a fresh vibe. Maybe their relationship is stale. Otherwise, it's people who just want more. Maybe out of 10 boxes that must be ticked at all times in their relationship, they find that maybe 4 are not ticked, then they get it somewhere. For instance, you find that your partner doesn't listen to you or doesn't respect you, and you find someone else who does, then you're switching to the other side just to balance. and then there's like a backup. When this one is shutting down, you switch to the other one. And people who are involved don't have a problem, dealing with recovery from one relationship to another. They just move. So there are different reasons why people do that.
Ernest, you're right. This is not a new phenomenon at all. In fact, when I read about monkey branching, I'm like, well, I know this term, actually. I've known it for a very long time, but I know it as monkey barring. It's the same concept, essentially, right? A monkey bar you find in the gym or in a jungle gym where children play, and it's the very same thing. The children hold on to one bar, and to get to the other bar, you have to let go of the other. But there has to always be a point where you're holding both bars at the same time. So monkey branching, monkey barring, whatever you'd like to call it, and of course you gave us a more formal word for it as a relationship coach, but there are different reasons, I suppose, why people do this, right? For some it could be because for a long time their relationship hasn't been working out, and that relationship might be over, and essentially they met somebody during that same time when they're transitioning out of a new relationship. But there's another more serious reason. There are people out there who just can never be alone, like someone who's never been single even their entire adult lives. What is this called? And what is it? Why are some people so afraid of just being alone for some time?
Yeah, you're very correct. It's a disorder of some sort. Social disorder, emotional complication, or something psychological, and it has nothing for those who are constantly in that situation. It's not even about the one relationship having insecurities or is insufficient. They just designed like that, and people like that need to go to some kind of a psychotherapy to fix that. They just cannot stay alone. That's what you call void intolerance. They're unable to have a gap in between relationships. So there are those who do it because they have a reason, and then those who do it even when there's no reason, and they do that. And it's unfair to the other party because it's a denial of consent to the other party, and it raises its ugly head in so many ways. Like, you can easily spot it. They start giving excuses. They're busy. The phone switches off all of a sudden. Late night chats, DMs, social media. Some people can be on social in a relationship with their partner staying next to them. They're on the phone till 1 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Chatting with God knows who. So there's a habitual nature of it, which has nothing to do with which partner is in question at the time. Mm-hmm. And then there's circumstantial, where people just feel like, I can, that's why I'm doing it. Like I said earlier, for men, we call it fresh vibes. You're fine. It's not like there's anything wrong with your relationship, but you just feel like it's stale and you want to have another. Mm-hmm. But yes, there's that point where people just do it because they're habitual, in nature when they do that.
All right, and let's take a bit of a break. This is intriguing. We're speaking about monkey branching. You're holding on to this relationship while trying to start another, but you're not quite sure if that other one is going to work. So you're holding on to this one. You're like, hey, let me see which one is going to work. Or you pretty much just holding on to that one branch and the other branch, and you're just swinging and swinging and swinging.
So is that now monkey swinging?
And you're just staying there because you just are comfortable in having both partners. But let's talk about the partner that is probably in the dark and doesn't know what's happening. Maybe both partners are in the dark and don't know what's happening. What is the consequence there? We'll speak about this after the break. It's 20 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time.
AUSISA, the Association of Water and Sanitation Institution of South Africa, is a platform uniting Africa's water professionals. This November, Africa leads the conversation on water and sanitation. Join global and African leaders at the AUSISA Africa and Global South Dialogue 2025 from the 9th till the 12th of November at the Emperor's Palace, Johannesburg. From policy innovation, this is where action meets collaboration for a water-secure future. Register today at ausisa-watersan-dialogue.org or follow at AUSISA on social media. AUSISA, working together for sustainable water and sanitation security in Africa. 9 to 12 midday, Central African Time. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
We're chatting to our friend, dating coach and founder of Justified Connect Singles World, Ernest Toho. Today we're speaking about a phenomenon called monkey branching, moving on to a new relationship, a new interest, while you still have another, holding on like you do when a monkey swings from branch to branch, only letting go once stabilized on the next branch. We continue this conversation. Let's speak about some of the consequences. And I think the consequences can come in three parts here, right? The consequences to the party that was, your partner before, so your first partner, the consequences to the partner that you're branching into, and the consequences for yourself, your own mental health when you are monkey branching, Ernest. Let's chat about that. First of all, let's speak about the other people, because the innocent parties are those who have not chosen or are not consenting to be a part of this kind of relationship style.
It's very, very important. Like you mentioned, the mental health of the one being branched, it's very important. Now, their concerns will range from health risks, STI risk rising from secret overlap, money and administration. You find that the patterns will affect, especially if the people are very close or living together. Rent, loans, shared accounts, and reputational damage. I mean, in South Africa, it's a very small world, and the word gets out very fast, and then you lose time with this person, not knowing that your time is being wasted. And for the party that is being branched, it's important to look at it from this point of view. Number one, do not self-blame. It's not your fault. It's the other party. Go do a health check. Go do, check, do some tests out there and see what's going on. And then, of course, look back in your admin, your financial situations, your accounts, and then your social circles, family, faith, community, and all that. And routine reset. Your sleep patterns, your meals patterns, your movement, and then, of course, talk to someone. But for the party that is being branched, it's important to, first of all, check your health status, check your mental status, situation, and then start looking into change in patterns in your finances, change in patterns in your social, engagements or interactions. And then that way you're able, and more than anything, have a conversation with the branching partner to say, look, let's be clear. Are we still exclusive? You want out? Then give something like a 3-week. Don't just focus on a single situation, but look at a pattern over a space of 4 to 6 weeks. Then make a decision. If we're going to continue, these are the terms, these are the boundaries. If you want out, please, by all means, you're welcome.
This is interesting because I'm thinking about this in many ways, because one would think, okay, that means monkey branching is all forms of cheating, because at times you're with someone and you're with another person. Is it the same thing, Ernest, or are there different manifestations of cheating on a partner?
Yes, there are different manifestations. There's just the standard one where, you're in a relationship, whether or not you're satisfied, you just go and do something stupid out there. That's basic cheating. Monkey branching is one aspect of what we're talking about. Then there's another term which we don't want to confuse with this one. It's called cushioning.
Okay.
Cushioning is when you intentionally keep a backup just in case.
People are busy.
Something to fall back on, Ernest.
There you go. And the downside of that for the party that they receive on the receiving end is you don't get the full, interest of your partner, because they've got backup. Like, look at, what are you saying? Like, I don't have time, because once you do nonsense, they've got backup. It's not like they're moving over, but there's a backup. That's called cushioning. And there's something called benching, where you just pack a person, and you don't say anything. Then there's orbiting. Orbiting is very common. When a person follows these stories, you follow stories like this online, you're always very intrigued, you follow comments, you like posts, but you're not committing to anything. You're not exactly moving over to another party. You get the point?
That's so
these are
interesting.
different aspects of it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go back to what we're talking about, which is monkey branching. It feels like with monkey branching, there's also that emotional attachment that is actually at stake here, because you probably are handing over your emotions to the next person, just like you are giving your emotions to the person that you're currently with. Isn't that the big
Correct.
risk here?
No, that is, and the truth about it is, there's no guarantees out there. There's no guarantees out there. But for the person who's doing the branching, more often than not, it's not even because of anything justifiable. They do it because they are suffering of what I said earlier, that void intolerance.
Yeah.
It's almost like act now, think later. So there's no guarantees of that emotional stability or the romantic establishment in the new relationship, but they just have to do it because they're going through a chronic, emotional, psychological disorder, which needs to be addressed. And it has nothing to do with the partner they're currently with. You can change the names of the partner from Sibusisto to John. They'll still do the same thing because they have that chronic situation.
Yeah. Ernest, at the end of this all, this can affect people in the long run. And I just want us to look at it, because sometimes relationships are supposed to be about building that relation with someone, but they should also be teaching us something about ourselves. So if there's someone listening to this who knows that they've been a regular monkey brancher for a very long time, and they actually haven't been single because of it for years or for however long, what's the kind of introspection that monkey brancher needs to do, and what do they need to learn about themselves in order for them to realize that, or to find that comfort in being alone sometimes, and taking the time to get to really know themselves?
This aspect of this conversation is really very, very important, because we're not going to leave this topic without helping the branchers, the chronic serial monkey branchers.
Yeah.
And one of the first thing, to do, it has to be, a self-acknowledgement, which means have a conversation with your partner and see where you're erring. And when that happens, you need to have that conversation. And there's what I call clear, CLEAR. C would be clarify expectations. Okay. Listen to other views. Establish boundaries, agree to next step and timelines, and then review. Under review to mean either to repair or to exit. But the brancher, when they identify, because two things, they have to even know that they are in that business of branching. But when they do establish it, you go for counseling. Go for counseling with a professional to see how to fix yourself, because it's a lifelong thing, and until it is fixed, it is not fixed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you now start, the counselor will always give you something to do. It can be, something as simple as, a 3-minute walk every day, read stuff, about this situation. Have a genuine, real friend that you can always talk to, who can put you in line,
Yeah.
When you're not getting it right. And then have certain goals, per time. For instance, start controlling your sleeping habits. Sleep at a certain time, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, no DM, no social media after a particular time. Mm-hmm. And if it's something that must be kept secret, then it's not good for a relationship. You start paying attention to things like that.
Yeah.
And speak to your partner. Your partner will help you, focus on how to, stop these things. But yes, there must be a new pattern set, new structure in one's life. No late night social media, TikTok.
Of course.
Instagram.
All right,
very
and as we have to leave it there. It's a very interesting one, and I think it happens more often than we think, where people keep moving from one relationship to another. They think, oh yeah, I'm great because, I'm never single, I'm never lonely, people love me. But in fact, it's the introspection that's most important. It's always a pleasure chatting to you, Ernest. Hope to chat soon. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, guys.
Ernest, before we let you go, where can people find you?
Yes, thank you so much. You can get me on nstoho.com. Ernest is ERNEST, and Toho is TOHO.com. And across all social media platforms at Ernest Toho, you'll find me there. And this topic I've posted on my Facebook page is Ernest Toho Singles World.
Nice, man. We have this question on our On The Move poll today at Channel Africa 1 on X. That is the handle at Channel Africa 1. You know, the move swinging to a new romantic partner before letting go of the current one. What's your take on this vine hopping behavior? That's the question. We've got three options there. Totally unacceptable. Second option, depends on situation. And third option, understandable. Come into the conversation there as we want to get your views on this very heated and very steamy conversation. It's 9:31 Central African time. Let's quickly move on right now. Let's get our sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
The governing body SANZA have confirmed that there will be international rugby tours happening over the next 5 years, meaning the rugby championship will not take place next year. The governing body announced its schedule until 2030 and opened the way for the planned New Zealand tour of South Africa next year, which is said to be announced later this week. But what it didn't address will be the most concerning to local players and coaches, and that is the lack of global season, something that has played havoc with South Africa's Vodacom United Rugby Championship teams. At the moment, local players play in the URC and the Investec Champions and the EPCR Challenge Cup between September and June, then go straight into July Test and the Rugby Championship. This means some of South Africa's top players have played non-stop since the start of URC in 2021. While rest periods have been agreed, the need is there for a proper off-season as the Northern Hemisphere has. On to football news, Morocco has qualified for the grand final of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup after overcoming France in an epic and tense semi-final that was decided by a penalty shootout. After 120 minutes of intensity, the score remained tied 1-1, forcing a dramatic finish where the young Atlas Lions demonstrated unbreakable mental strength. With the final result of 4-2 in the penalties and Morocco making history, they will now face Argentina in the final. And South African Football Association NEC member Pubi Govindensamy has praised Hugo Broos for leading the team to its first World Cup tournament since South Africa hosted the showpiece in 2010. Bafana qualified for its first FIFA World Cup since 2002. Govindensamy says Bafana will be a powerhouse not only in Africa but on the global stage if they can get the same funding as the country's national rugby and cricket teams.
That if government spends more money on South African football, like all the white businesses spend money on rugby and cricket, we can be a powerhouse, not only in Africa, but in the world at large. We have the players, we have the talent, we have the administrators. Some people say we don't. We do have them throughout the country, 52 regions, many of the LFAs, and they're doing a great job, despite the fact that there's not enough money coming through in SAFA.
Meanwhile, SAFA President Dennis Jordan has revealed that the administrative bungle which saw Bafana docked 3 points for fielding an ineligible Tebogo Mokoena in the quarterfinals against Lesotho is a closed matter.
So the matter is closed. We are not interested in the matter. We are going to the World Cup. We've qualified, and that's where we go. We are not going to dwell on what is behind us is behind us. What is in front of us is a World Cup. It's the African Cup of Nations. We've spoken. The coach must have told you that we are focusing on now the next point, the African Cup of Nations in Morocco, and then the World Cup.
For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fide Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
The South African Medical Association, SAMA, has officially suspended all relations with the Israeli Medical Association, a move welcomed by healthcare workers for Palestine, South Africa. The organization says this decision represents a powerful stand for medical ethics, justice, and human rights, echoing the global call for solidarity with Palestinians.
And recently, we've also seen other national associations such such as the British Medical Association, Turkish, they've released quite strongly worded statements, although none have gone as far as SAMA to cut ties with the Israeli Medical Association, as well as to call for the suspension from the World Medical Association. It's a watershed moment that an organization has actually taken this step. And it's not an idle threat. SAMA is a member of the World Medical Association, and they can action this resolution by bringing it before the World Medical Association.
Dr. Sadiq Mullah, chairperson of Healthcare Workers for Palestine, South Africa.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine.
All right, let's move on right now. It's 9:36 Central African time. Let's move on and get our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin. Good morning. And our top business story at this hour, Namibia's central bank governor, Johannes Ihauachab, says the country has secured the funds needed to repay its $750 million Eurobond, which is maturing on the 29th of October. This is the largest single debt payment in the country's history. Ihauachab says the bond was issued in 2015 and was designed to support development projects, the national budget, and the balance of payments. Egypt says it's poised to complete another debt swap before the end of this year with its European partners. Egyptian Planning Minister Rania Al-Mashat says the transaction will see expensive debt swapped for debt at lower costs, with the savings earmarked for a project or other purpose. She says that this will be another chapter of the around $1 billion worth of swaps that the country has undertaken with bilateral partners such as Germany and Italy since the 1990s, and that more such transactions are in the pipeline for next year. The Pretoria High Court in South Africa has struck off the urgent court roll, a case brought by the dissolved South African Tourism Board against Minister Patricia de Lille. The ousted board had approached the court on an urgent basis, seeking to be reinstated following de Lille's decision to dissolve it in August. A key reason given for the move was an unauthorized meeting without a duly appointed chairperson purportedly held earlier that month, which the board denies. Former board members claim this is a fabrication used to justify its dissolution and to protect South African Tourism CEO Nombulelo Guliwo from accountability. The minister has welcomed the court's decision.
In the meantime, already on the 10th of October, I have gazetted a call for an advertisement with a call for South Africans to nominate eligible, suitable candidates. I will then take it through the process of interviews and shortlisting, whereafter I then take my recommendations to Cabinet for consideration.
South Africa's Reserve Bank Governor Lesitsha Kganyago says South Africa has focused on cross-border payments during its G20 presidency. In the financial transactions, a sender and receiver are in different countries. The payments can involve different currencies and must navigate various regulations and banking systems that individuals, businesses or banks make through bank transfers, digital wallets, or card-based payments. The G20 Heads of State and Government Summit will take place in Johannesburg next month, after which the US will take over the presidency of the bloc. Kganyago was speaking at the sidelines of the IMF and World Bank annual meetings in Washington, D.C.
Sub-Saharan Africa has one of the highest costs in terms of cross-border payments, and it was very important that we elevate that work. We have made significant progress, and we had isolated particular corridors, and what we had done was that in Southern Africa, in SADC, we now have established a structure of governance that oversees the issue of cross-border payments. We're working with both the IMF and the World Bank.
India says that discussions with the United States on deepening energy cooperation between the two countries are ongoing. This after US President Donald Trump said India had pledged to stop buying oil from Russia. Trump said earlier this morning that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has assured him that India would stop buying oil from Russia, but India is yet to confirm whether or not Modi has made such a commitment to Trump. Trump says he will now try to get China to stop buying Russian oil as Washington intensifies its efforts to cut off Moscow's energy revenues. India and China are the two top buyers of Russian seaborne crude exports, and Trump recently targeted India for its Russian oil purchases, imposing tariffs on Indian exports to the US to discourage it from its crude buying. And now for a look at the indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,460 naira this morning, unchanged from yesterday. In Botswana, the dollar is trading at 13 pula 26, Kenya at 128 shilling and 8, and in Zambia it's at 22 kwacha 52. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 46. In Russia, it's at 78 rubles 88. India, 88 rupees 15. And China, it's trading at 7 yuan 13. And in South Africa, it's at 17 rand 32 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,233 per ounce, and platinum at $1,672 per ounce this morning. They haven't moved a lot, while Brent crude oil is at $62.49 a barrel. And those are your business news. For any business news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Let the good times roll. From the 10th of October, make a note. Channel Africa is stepping into a brand new era with the launch of our upgraded website and app. It's easy, fresh, and always on your fingertips. Wherever you are in the world, Africa's voice is just a click away. The future of Channel Africa. Okay. Goes live from the 10th of October. Don't miss the moments. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
develop your sueto. Mama Forisa. Tell your back, keep it connected. Follow your cresco. Telling me where you there. Oh, more day. Hello, go and a kilometer for your ways. Oh, gotta shika. Get to shika, say me, so go shika. What is the use of my money? I'm smoking, not I gonna need it. She want it for me, God, I am. You know me, I be with it. She say, baby, I buy me, oh, your thing, they touching my belly, oh. Yeah, j'aime l'amour fast feet. Oh, baby, come as I live for me. Hallelujah, hallelujah. As I see, I'm hallelujah. Tell if you balance.
Let's go, everybody. It's 9:46 Central African time. Beautiful music of the African continent. This is Victony and Tempo with one title, Soweto. And we had just a very, very interesting conversation with Ernest Toho. I use the word interesting a lot on the show because some of the things are like, this is new. Today, I learned this new term that is called monkey branching. Maybe you know it. Mina, sometimes I'm just out of the loop of these things, right?
True.
But I want to get your thoughts on our On The Move poll. We've got it on X, and we are asking you, what's your take on monkey branching behavior? We've got 3 options: totally unacceptable, depends on situation, understandable. It's interesting because I'm very conservative when it comes to relationships. I think what's difficult for me is the fact that women are expensive, man.
Yes, I agree.
I can't monkey branch because I've got other things to invest in than women.
Yeah. No, I get that, right? And this is not a new term for me. Like I said, I've always known it known as monkey barring. Same concept, of course, because whether the monkey's on the branch or on the bud, they're doing the exact same thing. And I do know people, right, who have chronically monkey barred almost their entire lives.
Shame, man.
Like people who have never ever been single. I have friends who I'm like, I don't ever remember you being single, and it's also worrisome because.
But that means they've never been with one person at one time. Because look, I think
there have been moments where they've just been with one person at a time, right?
So.
But every time the relationship fades out, it's always fading into another relationship.
Nina, so my question is, it's starting when it's fading out.
You could be single you could be in that one monogamous relationship for years, but when that relationship is fading, it fades into another one. And I'm not actually worried about the cheating itself, right?
You're not?
No, I'm not actually worried about the cheating itself, especially if we're speaking about someone maybe I know personally or I worry about this person themselves. Like, why is it that you can't be with yourself? I worry with the impact of you being so afraid of just being with yourself. What are you running away from? What is it about yourself that you're running away from, that you can't see yourself just being in your own thoughts by yourself, introspecting, understanding, learning just about yourself in a singular way? Because that's my biggest concern. If it's someone that I know and I'm concerned about, of course cheating is a concern, but that's a relationship concern. But when it comes to the person who is always chronically monkey barring or monkey branching, I worry about that person. To say, I feel like there's real help that you need to look for to understand why you're so afraid of just being yourself, why you're so afraid of you.
If you've monkey branched your entire relationship scene, then I think you are a chronic cheater, because you can't just start something and end something, right? Because I think that's also healthy to say, you know what, I'm okay, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, I'm finished. That's kind of like the conventional sense, right?
Yeah.
But if you constantly moving from one relationship to another, but doing the monkey branching itself, I think you're like serial cheater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's to a large extent. And I'll be very concerned because it could be a chronic condition for you if you can't find yourself just moving on by yourself. But I'm not judging, right? I'm just saying that's how it kind of looks for me.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your take on this one? Monkey Branching, want to get your thoughts on our X handle at Channel Africa One. Let us know on our live stream. Remember, you can join us live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. They're going simultaneously, so you can make a choice whether you want to go to YouTube or whether you want to go to our Facebook page. Those options are open for you. And remember, don't forget our website. It's pretty fresh. It's pretty new. Go to www.channelafrica.co.za to also engage with us in a different way on that platform.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The United States was very vocal at the beginning of South Africa's G20 presidency, and this is largely due to strained relations with South Africa at the time, that they were not really keen on participating. Where do they stand right now?
The US is planning to take over the presidency of the G20 next year, and our understanding from them is that they intend to continue to do so, and therefore it is quite difficult then to be in a situation where you are not attending deputies' meetings or discussions during our presidency and then to take over the presidency next year. From a finance track perspective, there has been engagement. We've been working on a communique last week and this week here in Zimbabwe. What's important about that is that it's a consensus document, and so all the members in the room have to agree to the language that is used there, and our US colleagues have been part of those discussions and negotiations.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
right, it's 9:55 Central African time. That is Justin Vibes with one titled Uzozi Sola. 9:55 Central African time. We've got so many conversations that are coming up. The next hour one is intriguing for me. Just showing off your life, your hustle, just your ordinary hood, the ekasi in the township, and just saying, hey, this is who I am. These are the struggles I deal with, and I'm not trying to show a facade. And I think that's what we do most of the time on social media. We just show the glamour, how we want to be seen. But hey, when your bills are overdue,
we don't post.
You don't post.
We don't post about your bills. You don't say, hey guys, today I got some bills and I can't pay these bills, And that's the thing, right? Social media has turned into, especially the visual platforms, right?
Yeah.
Have turned into a place where we show off the best parts of ourselves. When we buy new furniture, that's what you post. If you go on holiday, that's what you post. And also if you've got this beautiful, glamorous house, you want to post it all the time, right? And it's become a place, right? It's aspirational. That's great because we can go on there.
There's nothing wrong with
There's nothing wrong with that. I want to live a life like this. But I feel like it all has also for a long time excluded people just living ordinary lives. Like actually the majority of us who actually live ordinary lives but have been too afraid to post about them because they don't have that glamour attached to them. And essentially I feel like social media has become a space that says, if you don't have, what are you doing here? If you go on Instagram, for example, it's like, if I don't have, why am I posting? What am I posting about? I mean, I don't have anything to post. But hey, you still have a life. Why isn't your life good enough to go on social media and to be shown or showcased or even spoken about like everyone else does with their own? But that is shifting, and I have loved to see it so much. That shift that we're seeing on some social media platforms, especially TikTok, right, which has brought in a new space where people from all walks of life are saying, hey, this is the life that I'm living. Show me the life that you're living. I'm not ashamed of the life that I'm living, and I'm happy to live this life, and I'd like to document it and share it with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on TikTok now, finally. I try not to spend too much time on TikTok because it is addictive. I have to say that just the app itself, we can draw you and you can stay there for a very long time. So when I'm there, I really enjoy the content because it's kind of different from the kind of content that I'm used to, which is like everyday lives, people doing silly things, at home with their families. And there's this couple that I once saw on TikTok who are just showing them being a couple. Like they live in a shack in an informal settlement, and they wake up in the morning, they show you them doing the bed, how they bath, what kind of tools they use to bath, what they cook with, how they go home, how they come back, how they have to clean the shack. I was like, this is very, very interesting. But to another degree, I was like, is this not poverty porn to a large degree, where we kind of like conditioning ourselves to feel like this is okay, this is what they do in Africa, the people in Africa, this is how they live, this is them. I told you it's hard there. So it's interesting because it's someone's real lived experience, so you can't really say it's poverty porn, but it depends on also who's viewing it. They might think that's how everyone is living, right? In a particular place of the world.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and it's going to be a beautiful thing to speak about in today's Becoming feature, where we're going to be bringing in a social media influencer who has really thrived with this kind of content, just showing her everyday life. She lives in an informal settlement. She walks through the maze of shacks to get to the taxis, the public transport to go to work, and she just documents it. And people are saying, this is beautiful, this is authentic, and she's just being herself. And this is what we're going to be looking at in today's Becoming feature. But we have to go there first. It's 10 a.m. Central Africa time. In the meantime, head on over to our On The Move poll at Channel Africa 1. Let's bring back Jolane Tulongwepe for our latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Top stories this hour. Cameroon's government officials dismissed the opposition's elections victory claim, and it's World Food Day today. Good morning. Government officials in Cameroon have dismissed claims by opposition candidate Issa Chiroma that he has won the elections. The electoral body is only expected to announce the results after 15 days. In a speech posted on his social media on Monday, Chiroma claimed victory and urged Biya, who at 92 is the world's oldest serving head of state, to concede defeat. Geopolitical analyst Aaron Ngambi says the officials are correct in principle to dismiss the claim.
Yeah, so the current minister, Paul Tangaji, is actually right in principle. He is saying that it is the role of the Constitutional Council to announce the final results. It is not the role of any candidates or political players to do that, because doing this could actually amount to treason. So he's not just threatening the opposition, the promising opposition candidate, but he is also just reminding him that by law, the right thing to do is to wait for the Constitutional Council to actually declare elections.
African countries have been called upon to exercise substantive democracy. Governance Insights and Analyst Head at Good Governance Africa, Dr. Mabato Mongai, says demand for democracy on the continent outweighs supply. Mongai spoke to Channel Africa on the need to restore accountability, social justice and indigenous governance traditions.
It's important that we differentiate between governance and democracy. And what we're hearing amongst Africans, even with the stats that you spoke about, in considering the difference between, the demand for democracy versus its supply, Africans are asking to be governed. And it's getting to a point whereby some would arguably say that how we are governed at this point in time, we are not as strict, if you look at what's happening in West Africa and so forth. But to your question on who is to dictate what the standard of democracy is when democracies or governance within these countries, be it Russia, be it China, be it USA, it's falling apart within these countries.
Security expert in South Africa Mike Borley says that despite some senior police officials' efforts to shield one another at the Madlanga Commission and Parliament's ad hoc committee, the truth will eventually emerge. Senior police officials have been appearing before the two entities that are investigating allegations of political interference, criminality and corruption in the country's criminal justice system. The embattled Police Minister Senzo Mchunu is the latest witness to appear before Parliament's ad hoc committee today. According to Borley, the witnesses have so far tactfully sought to avoid incriminating themselves.
They're going to try and not throw each other under the bus, but they actually eventually will. These guys, they protect themselves as well, because they make sure that they're going to walk out here innocent, and they will be very careful what they say, because each one of them has got something on the other. These guys keep files on each other. If you talk of me, I'll talk of you. If you throw me under the bus, I'll throw you under the bus. So they'll be very, very careful. But hopefully this thing becomes, a boiling pot so effectively that there is just no other option, with evidence presented, that the truth totally comes out.
Today marks World Food Day. It is an international day celebrated every year worldwide on the 16th of October to commemorate the date of the founding of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in 1945. The United Nations says as the world marks World Food Day, more than 8% of the world population, or around 673 million people, are not getting enough to eat and going hungry. And finally, a fragile two-day ceasefire is underway between Pakistan and the Afghan Taliban after renewed border clashes. It comes after Pakistani airstrikes hit Afghan's capital Kabul and Kandahar province. This was in response to what Pakistan has described as unprovoked cross-border fire from Taliban forces. The BBC's Caroline Davies has the story.
The Taliban spokesperson has said that is in place as a temporary ceasefire so long as there is no further aggression shown from either side. So this is of course the crucial thing. How long will this ceasefire last for? Will there be meaningful talks between both sides, and will there be some form of peaceful agreement? As we've heard earlier as well, over the course of the last few days there have been clashes between Pakistan and Afghanistan on the border, and we know that there have been civilians that have been caught up in that.
Recapping the top story this hour, government officials in Cameroon have dismissed claims by opposition candidate Issa Chiroma that he has won the elections. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
5 minutes past 10 Central Africa time. We're in the second hour of On the Move this Thursday morning. I hope you're good wherever you are, and I hope you're tapped in and tuned in. We have so many places where you can do that, and of course you can also move about and change platforms whenever you wish. But these are the platforms you can find us on our brand new website, www.channelafrica.co.za. Make sure you go there. It's fun, it's interactive, and that's a new place where you can be a part of the Channel Africa family. Find us as well on our audio bouquets, DSTV 802 and OpenView HD channel 628, and of course the SABC Plus app. Our social media platforms always up and running, and we stream live throughout the 3 hours of the show. So definitely come in, join us. You're the most important part of this family. It's time for our Becoming feature in a couple of minutes, and this is a place where we're all sort of self-discovering, where we're growing together, where we're learning together, and just trying to be the best that we can be. And every now and then we profile individuals who really have really epitomize this becoming journey and aren't afraid to show who they're becoming and show it to the world. One such person is the influencer, social media influencer we'll be speaking to this morning, Shemaine Sabeka, who's showing her life through a lens that many might be afraid to show it. I mean, when you go on social media, people are showing the glamorous side of their lives. People are showing their pretty homes. People are showing, where they work. People are showing the beautiful outfits, the great holidays. But there is an inauthenticity with that, where people sort of hide the things that they don't deem to be aesthetically pleasing and only show those that are. But what she's doing is showing everything. She's showing her life as is. And it's become quite an inspiration to many to say, yeah, I don't have the perfect life, but this is the life that I'm living, and I am becoming something, but I'm going to take you with me on my journey to becoming. So we're going to speak to her a little bit in a couple of minutes. I really, really look forward to having this conversation with her.
I'm looking forward to that as well. Let's take a little bit of a music break. We'll be back.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Hey, changing the face of Ethiopian music. That is Hallelujah Tekle Sadiq with one titled Yelebe. Let's take a break. We're going to be speaking about how to stay authentic on social media. Sometimes we think, you know what, my experience doesn't belong on social media. It's for the rich and famous. Hey, is that true? We'll find out after the break.
Siyabangena manje. Vito iJabulani Nkolele iMagoda. Jabulani is a young man from Giyani in Limpopo in South Africa. Very easy guy, taking things easy. To know me is to know that I love what I do, which I'm crazy about it. So when you hear me on radio, expect the best. Expect great music. Expect great content. Expect 180 minutes of nothing but fun. You'll find me on the morning reset, 3 to 6 a.m., Monday to Friday. Siyabangena baba. Ay. Mbuleke.
Keeping you on the know and on the move.
For those coming after me, I want you to know this. Your background does not determine your future. It never has, and it never will. Never see yourself as a failure, and don't let anyone fool you. Education is very important, including leveling up your skills and networking. Don't let anyone ever dim your light, because your light is brighter than anything on earth. Yafadla. Believe in yourself, because you are more than capable. Stay consistent even when it's hard. Stay humble and don't ever shrink yourself. Surround yourself with people that push you to grow. Never be afraid of where you're coming from, because that's your story. That's your journey. And most importantly, let God lead.
I love that. That is the voice of Shamaine Sabeka, who's going to be part of our Becoming feature today right here on The Move. Quite inspiring, that voice. And if you wonder why we played it, Shamaine is a social media influencer of a different kind. And usually when we go on social media, people spotlight the best parts of themselves, the best parts of their lives, but never ever some of the things that they never feel that they've reached a certain point to yet. So perhaps not the most aesthetically pleasing life, but it's still on there. Perhaps not the life that you aspire to have, but it's still on there. And Shamaine does exactly that. Through her lens, we see the quiet strength behind everyday survival, the raw honesty of living through hardship, and the courage it takes to share it with the world. Shamaine, thank you so much for joining us on The Move this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You know, social media has been around for quite some time now, and I think it's really evolved from what it was when it began. When it started, we were all just excited to be speaking to people from all around the world and sharing the experiences of our lives. But of course, through the different social media mediums, that started changing. It started becoming more visual, more aesthetically pleasing, and more people became afraid to post anything on social media because they didn't feel like it fit the aesthetic of where everyone else's life was. But that has changed over the years a little bit, certainly not to an extent that it should. But you said, you know what, this is the life that I'm living and I want to be authentic with it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Shamaine, and why you decided to take on the social media journey.
So Shamaine is a girl that grew up in a squatter camp. So in my whole life, I've always wanted to change my background, And so I worked so hard that I went to university. And then last year when I started working, I thought about why not show how many South Africans live, how we struggle to get to work, how we struggle to show our authentic selves to the world because of what we see on the internet. So I wanted to show that
part of South Africa that no one knows about, or many know about, but they're afraid of showing it to people because it's not aesthetically appealing, like you said, or it's not what people are used to, or it's what people are afraid to showing themselves. So I wanted to be that, to show how it is to be a Black South African child.
Sure. And that is such a brave thing to do because, as you mentioned, some people are afraid of speaking of their authentic experience, especially in the township where most of us come from. What were the things that you were feeling as you were embarking on this? Did you have some form of reservation?
Yeah, I did have some form of reservation. I was even afraid as well of showing who I am. I asked myself so many questions. Am I doing the right thing? Am I right for doing this? It just came with so much. But when I started doing it, it felt right.
And, when you start telling the story, you have to kind of be authentic about it, right? Like that's actually what people want from a social media experience. Were you kind of like, okay, I'm starting to go to work now. I've got to figure this thing out. And now let me get my camera out. Where did you start? Because people, as much as they are telling a township story, they also still try to hide parts of their story. But that's not what you did.
So I don't even know how it came about, but one day when I was going to work, I just decided to just document my day in the life of a BI analyst from a squatter camp to work. It just happened magically. I just took the video, and many people do ask, how do you even get the time to take the video? I mean, you're going to work.
Sure.
How do you even do that? So I just do it. It just happens.
So, Shemaine, like you said, when you made the decision, it was quite spontaneous. It's not something that you thought through. But was there a little bit of fear in you somewhere that says, hey, man, are people going to laugh at me? Look at, where I live. Are they going to laugh at my living situations? Are they going to look down on me because I don't have a great, experience? I don't live in an amazing, an aesthetically pleasing place. I still take public transport to work. And all of these are the things that essentially many people try to hide from the eyes of social media. So did you experience any of those fears? And if so, how did you overcome them?
I would say I did experience those kind of fears, especially now that I'm working with different people that come from different backgrounds. I was afraid that maybe they will judge me. Would see, Shamini is coming from this place, but she's working. Why is she not doing this? I had so much fear, but I would say I overcame the fear because when I was growing up, I knew, and my mother taught me that I should never compare myself to anyone else because our paths are not the same. We're not in the same journey. We're not coming from the same backgrounds. So I cannot compare myself to someone who's staying in an apartment to me who grew up like. So I have to walk my own path and I have to take it one step at a time instead of rushing into things because I'm going to crash out along the way.
And of course, like I said, you like you said, in fact, you just started doing it, and then it's the posting. There's one thing, it's two different things to take a video, and it's another thing altogether to have the courage to post it. Because trust me, even people who think that they fit the aesthetic of social media platforms might be too afraid to remove that video or that picture from inside their phone to the social media platforms. When you started getting feedback on your video, your first video, your second video, your third video, how did that change your perspective on you, on yourself, but also on social media?
Changed my perspective when I was actually getting feedback from people saying I'm actually making an impact. I'm having a huge impact in their lives. Students that are at university who are always saying people are mocking them because of where they come from. They're afraid of showing who they are to the public. So I would say it made a huge impact knowing that I'm actually having a positive impact in someone else's life. Although it is also helping me, but I'm also helping someone else out there.
Okay, we'll continue this conversation indeed. And I love that, it was kind of, an experience whereby you're like, no, must I do this? To something that's actually made an impact on the lives of other people. Shemaine, stay there on the line. We'll continue the conversation after the break.
The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
The story that takes us to Zambia. There are two men actually that were sentenced to prison for the plot to kill the president with witchcraft. You go like, what? So these guys were arrested actually in Lusaka. And what was found on them was a live chameleon. Can you believe that? Animal tails and bottles of concoction. That law takes us back to 1914, which is the Witchcraft Act. I can imagine now arrested and they go to jail for the next 2 years. I presume that when you get to jail, they get to ask you actually, what is it that you committed? Now, this is the first of its kind, by the way, for somebody to be arrested for such. They in Pemba, whenever they pass, hey, Chikanga, hey, Uloya, hey, Mulosi. And imagine here I am in these early hours of the mornings, I get to talk about witchcraft.
Saturday and Sunday mornings belong to the Morning Switch. 3 to 6 a.m. Central African Time.
On the move, weekdays, 9 a.m. to midday.
Only on Channel Africa. Hashtag on the move.
Hey, most of the time when we are trying to create content for social media, we sometimes have to remove ourselves from our truth and our authenticity and kind of create this reality that we don't actually live, so it can be appealing to the people observing our social media platforms. But you know what? Is this what people want? I don't think so, right? And Shemaine Sabea showed us that by displaying her life as she was starting off a new job, but still living in an informal settlement. And she was showing the struggles, the victories, but also her courage to actually tell her own story. Shemaine, as you've done this kind of thing that maybe someone said it's very simple, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't make a difference. For you, what has happened to you in telling your own story? Because someone might take it for granted, not knowing that there is sometimes a shame for some of us who come from those township environments of not telling our true stories.
I would say in me telling my story, I actually found people that relate to my story. And I think the ones that come to me and say, look, I've been there, I've done that, it's possible, are the ones that have an impact on me. So yeah, like it has really changed my life like that I know I'm not alone, and I know that it might not be easy, but it's possible.
And has it given you a new appreciation of where you actually come from? Because I think we at times don't even know the treasures that lie in where we come from. For example, I'm from Tembisa, raised by a single mother and a grandmother. I go home all the time, and that's where I actually reboot. That's where I get my strength from whenever I go visit my mom at my grandmother's house, because it's such a place that reminds me of my true self. Did you have the same experience as well? Kind of like saying, you know what, it's not a bad thing to be where I'm from. This is where I'm from. I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I would say that I actually relate to what you're saying. I'm also from Tembisa, and every time when I'm at home, I actually feel safer when I'm at the squatter camp. I always say this to my fans. I always feel safer when I'm at the squatter camp. The people, the love, it's just, it's everything. We might not lack the needs that, or the things that we might need, but the things like love, sharing, it's always there. I always feel at home. It's just amazing that I feel at home when I'm at a squatter camp where people don't think it's even safe.
Yeah. You know, Shemaine, there is more to us than the things that we portray on social media. And there's more to us than, the circumstances that we find ourselves in the particular time. And that's why this feature is called Becoming, because we're all always, on a journey to somewhere. And even when we reach that journey, there's a new journey ahead of us. And what's that journey for you? What are you desiring to become?
I am desiring to become someone that actually helps people from where I am coming from. I have always wanted to go to school, get a degree. I've done that. So now I just want to go back to where I'm coming from, tell a story, help someone out there, and just be someone that someone can rely on, I want to be in stages where I inspire others and just be who I am without having to be afraid of where I'm coming from, who might judge me, and all that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Charmaine, thank you for joining us. This has been a fantastic conversation with you, and well done for being that brave and telling your authentic personal story online. I think a lot of people, as you mentioned, have been impacted by that to say, hey man, I am not an outsider. I can also be one who participates in this one. Charmaine, where can people find you online?
They can find me on Instagram. I'm Charmaine Unfiltered. TikTok, it's Charmaine Unfiltered, and Facebook, Charmaine Unfiltered, as well as YouTube.
All right, Charmaine, have a good one, man. Thank you for joining us right here, and definitely we'll keep following you there on your social media platforms. As an African, is it easy for you to tell your true story, or do you feel like you need to go to some hotel for 2 minutes and just pretend you're having that cocktail and then go back to your township where you don't really tell your true story? We like those videos of places that don't really represent who we are. Or are you saying, hey, this is actually changing? Let us know on our WhatsApp number, +27 63 406 9126.
The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Hey, Charlie, what happened? Hey, if you be rap, you be single. If you be anything you want, do a zonto, do a lingo. Bad girl, go down. Hey, if you be rap, you be single. If you be anything you want, do a lingo, do a zonto. Bad girl, go down. Hey, Kofi Annan, let me see you do the Kofi Annan. Hey, Kofi Annan, bad girl, go down. Hey, Kofi Annan, let me see you do the Kofi Annan. Hey, Kofi Annan, bad girl, go down. Hey, Kofi Annan, let me see you do the Kofi Annan. Hey, Kofi Annan, bad girl, go down. Hey, chapter 1. He come to my house with a bag of money and he said that he won. Take me to Paris, Australia and somewhere. Verse 2. I don't know what to say, so I'm speaking in a lingua. Verse 3. All my other friends, then they talk, then they sing, but right now. Verse 4. I want to talk to my men now, give me some space now. I want to talk to my men now, give me some space now. For my country, all the big boys wear bada. For my country, all the fine girls like Pena. If you be rap, you be single. If you be anything you want, do a lingo, do a zonto. Bad girl, go down. Right? If you be rap, you be single. If you be anything you want, do a lingo, do a zonto. Bad girl, go down. Right? Kofi Annan, let me see you do the Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan, bad girl, go down. Right? Kofi Annan, let me see you do the Kofi Annan. Right? Kofi Annan, bad girl, a big bam baby. I know be sakere, but I go rap for him. And if I rap for you, make you know they laugh for me. Cause I be bad like that. And I go finish the best. Before I finish the best, you dey wait for Saturday. If you be rap, you be single. If you be anything you want, do a lingo, do a zonto. Bad girl, go down. Hey.
It's Yemi Alade giving ode to Kofi Annan on this one. It's 10:30 Central Africa time. I'm keeping things moving too quickly. You should definitely go and check out Shemaine's social media platforms. I think, we're all now living in a world where we are so far removed from reality that we forget what reality looks like. And of course, reality is different for all of us. But we live in Africa. I mean, this is actually the reality of the majority of us. And what we see on social media, all those aesthetics, is from the minority. So I think it's good for us to really keep our feet on the ground and see what authenticity looks like. And also remember that we are, free to be authentic as well, just as ourselves. But as we keep things moving, let's get our latest sports news.
Sports on Channel Africa.
The African perspective.
We kick off with football news. Morocco has qualified for the grand final of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup after overcoming France in an epic and a tense semi-final that was decided by a penalty shootout. After 120 minutes of intensity, the score remained a tight 1-1, forcing a dramatic finish where the young Atlas Lions demonstrated unbreakable mental strength. With a final result of 4-2 in the penalties and Morocco making history, they will now face Argentina in the final. South African Football Association NEC member Pubi Govindasamy has praised Hugo Broos for leading the team to its first World Cup tournament since South Africa hosted the showpiece in 2010. Bafana Bafana qualified for its first FIFA World Cup since 2002. The convincing 3-0 win over Rwanda in Mbombela sealed Bafana's qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the Americas. Govindasamy says Bafana will be a powerhouse not only in Africa but on the global stage if they can get the same funding as the country's national rugby and cricket teams.
That if government spends more money on South African football, like all the white businesses spend money on rugby and cricket, we can be a powerhouse, not only in Africa, but in the world at large. We have the players, we have the talent, we have the administrators. Some people say we don't. We do have them throughout the country, 52 regions, many of the LFAs. And they're doing a great job, despite the fact that there's not enough money coming through in South Africa.
On to rugby news. The World Rugby Governing Body, SANZA, have confirmed that there will be international rugby tours happening over the next 5 years, meaning the Rugby Championship will not take place next year. The governing body announced its schedule until 2030 and opened the way for the planned New Zealand tour of South Africa next year, which is said to be announced later this week. But what it didn't address will be the most concerning to local players and the coaches, and that is the lack of global season, something that has played havoc with South Africa's Vodacom United Rugby Championship teams. At the moment, local players play in the URC and the Investec Champions and EPCR Challenge Cup between September and June, then go straight into July Test and then the Rugby Championship. This means some of South Africa's top players have played non-stop since the start of the URC in 2021. On to hockey news. South African hockey men's captain Dayan Kasim says they are happy to have finally kicked off their 2026 FIH World Cup qualifying journey on a positive note after their opening match was a walkover. South Africa were due to face Zambia in the 2025 Men's Hockey Africa Cup of Nations campaign opener at the weekend. But the opponents failed to pitch in Ismailia in Egypt, resulting in a 5-0 walkover. But getting their first taste of action in a 3-1 win over Kenya on Sunday was enough to settle the nerves after being taken aback by the Zambians' no-show.
It is a bit frustrating because, we had 2 trainings before the tournament, and of course Zambia not arriving, it makes you feel a bit like, oh my God, what are we doing here, type of thing. But then of course, we played against Kenya, and I think, it wasn't our best performance, but I think 3 points is always important against a team like Kenya, who's really fit and strong and just runs a lot. So, I think, to be honest, everyone's in a good space and it's going well.
And finally, with tennis news, Diana Schneider fought back from one set down to beat Karolina Muchova and advance to the quarterfinals of the Ningbo Open in China. In a first meeting between the pair, it looked to be headed in the direction of the experienced Muchova's after she raced into a first set lead. However, back hit Schneider, 8 years Muchova's junior, who eventually took the match 2-6, 6-1, 6-2 after 1 hour and 53 minutes. Next up for the 21-year-old is a tie with either the top-seeded Mira Andreeva or Zhong Ling. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Nkhanza zokhudza amuna ndi azimayi kapena kuti gender-based violence GBV zikuwononga mioyo komanso kuphwasula mizi zikuchitika m'manyumba, m'masukulu, malo ogwirira ntchito ndipo kwambiri mwakachetechete koma sizikuyenera kupitirira. Mukazimva yankhulani, ngati mwakhuzidwa funani chithandizo chifukwa kusachita chilichonse sikuthandiza. Mverani kuma wireless onse 14 a SABC kuchokera lachitatu pa 23 mwezi uno wa Julai kuti mumve zokambirana, malangizo, masewero, zionetsero za maphunziro ndi mafunso okhuza nkhanza za amuna ndi azimayi ndi akatswiri, anthu opulumuka ku nkhanzazi, kukhazikitsa lamulo komanso dziko lonse lokhuzidwa ndi nkhanzazi. Zonsezi pa wireless yomwe mumayikonda ya SABC. Imbirani pa nambala 0800 428 428 kuti munene za nkhanzazi kapena kupeza chithandizo. Nkhanza zokhuza amuna ndi azimayi zimatha ndi inu. Uthenga ukufikani kuchokera ku SABC.
All right, thank you so much, Figile. Now let's move on to our business news with Buntle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin. Good morning. In our top story at this hour, the Tunisian government will request an exceptional direct funding from the central bank worth $3.7 billion again in 2026. According to the country's budget bill, the move is aimed at filling the fiscal deficit given the scarcity of external financing. The government in 2025 resorted to borrowing $2.3 billion to repay urgent debts in a move that experts warned could push the country into a spiral of inflation. Tunisia will need internal and external financing amounting to $9.24 billion in 2026. Namibia's central bank governor, Johannes Igawachab, says the country has secured the funds needed to repay its $750 million Eurobond, which is maturing on the 29th of October. This is the largest single debt payment in the country's history. Igawachab says the bond was issued in 2015 and was designed to support development projects, the national budget, and the balance of payments. South African security strategist Andy Mashaile says South Africa plunging 50 places in the global ranking for safety further compromises its prospects of being removed from the Financial Action Task Force grey list. This is the list that identifies countries with strategic deficiencies in their systems for combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation financing. Mashaile's comments followed a report by the Global Safety Index, which ranked 166 countries on safety and security. South Africa is now positioned at 129 out of the 166 countries. Mashaile attributes this to top officials being implicated in fraud and corruption.
The unfortunate part is when those who are at top management of the police general get to be fingered in acts of criminality, it affects us internationally. Do you think we will ever get out of the Financial Action Task Force grey list? Not for now. It also suggests that all other institutions in the world and in Africa look at us as the almost capital city of crime. I'm in position 129 out of 166. This is a serious cause for concern.
The Pretoria High Court in South Africa has struck off the urgent court roll, a case brought by the dissolved South African Tourism Board against Minister Patricia de Lille. The Ulster Board had approached the court on an urgent basis, seeking to be reinstated following de Lille's decision to dissolve it in August. A key reason given for the move was an unauthorized meeting without a duly appointed chairperson, purportedly held earlier that month, which the board denies. Former board members claim this is a fabrication used to justify its dissolution and to protect South African Tourism CEO Nombulelo Guliwe from accountability. The minister has welcomed the court's decision.
In the meantime, already on the 10th of October, I have gazetted a call for an advertisement with a call for South Africans to nominate eligible, suitable candidates. I will then take it to the process of interviews and shortlisting, whereafter I then take my recommendations to Cabinet for consideration.
Chinese state media has issued a 7-point rebuttal to U.S. calls for Beijing to wind back its rare earth controls as both sides struggle to move beyond a volley of barbs and accusations of blindsiding the other. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer yesterday called China's new rare earth export restrictions a global supply chain power grab. He suggested that Beijing could stave off President Donald Trump's threat to reimpose triple-digit tariffs on Chinese goods by shelving the measures set to take effect on the 8th of November. Beijing, on the other hand, maintains it's not only notified Washington before announcing the new licensing regime, but that the controls are also consistent with measures long in place in other major economies. The US and China have been embroiled in a war of words since a September telephone call between Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. And now moving on to the indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,460 naira this morning. In Botswana, it's at 13 pula 26. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling and 8. And in Zambia, it's at 22 kwacha 52. In BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 46 this morning. In Russia, at 78 rubles 88. India, 88 rupees 15. In China, it's trading at 7 yuan 13. And in South Africa, it's at 17 rand 32 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound, 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,233 per ounce. Platinum at $1,672 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $62.49 a barrel. Those are your business news. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459 for Channel Africa Business. I am Bontle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Estamos ndi Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin, fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
blue bass bearing its soul to you. Not your garden variety, everyday sort of deal. Mahogany ancestry peeking through. Strap tight, heart heights. The frequency from my bass, my soul become one for you. Let the groove see you through. Now, me and my bass have crafted this little tune just for you. Not to say the other players at the party don't have their thing to do. The Rhodes keyboard is spelling out the harmony, but it's got no hold on it. The percussion, the drums are like a heartbeat, but what else they gonna do? It's the bass that lays the foundation, the root note that places an anchor firmly at your center. Our link, our special place, the connection from me to you. Whether riding waves of musical bliss, anchored by my electric blue bass's sultry moan, or whether carrying the weight of my anguished soul sounding out in musical notes. Backbone, backbone. Cellular level, even when this set is done, you'll take me home, remembering, retasting, replaying the sensual excitement my bass has become. My bass. Hey, what a beautiful musician there. That is Musa Manzini with one title, Blue Bass. Did you know that this guy, Bali, was actually in a brain surgery, right? Mm-hmm. And while he's in this brain surgery, he's actually playing the guitar.
What?
Like he just played the guitar throughout his
Oh,
brain
wow.
surgery.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that was in 2018. But we lost him some years ago. A wonderful musician indeed. Hey, man, we were speaking about the authenticity of what you portray on social media. We were speaking to a lady who has a very unique TikTok whereby she goes through the experience of showing you her life in an informal settlement. Do you think we can do that as Africans, tell our true African story? I think we're doing that very well, especially on TikTok. Many people are not afraid to really reveal who they are on that particular platform. But there are other platforms like Instagram where there's a different type of approach there. Do you think we're telling that authentic story of who we are on social media? Let us know on our WhatsApp number +2763 406 9126. It's 10:50 Central African Time. Do stay with us.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126 and contribute to the conversation.
We are live at the 14th Oppenheimer Research Conference, a leading platform for natural and environmental science. Convened by Oppenheimer Generations Research and Conservation, it brings together top scientists, policymakers, and conservationists looking to advance solutions to global environmental crises in an ever-changing world. Channel Africa is on the ground and will be interviewing some of the leading African voices, shaping meaningful approaches to some of Africa's most pressing challenges. Stay tuned.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa
On the move.
Asiqala ka-ake manje sihambe kanje. Awuzweke. Engathi abangizwanga kahle. Tapho yenze kahle lapho. Yazwa. Uyazenzela. Edomntana uyazenzela. Bathi uyazenzela. Bathi yena uyazenzela. Barichomi wantuaramo asimoteng wantuaramo asimoteng wantuaramo asimot wantuaramo kimoteng Barichomi kimoteng asambe engisi mina wantuaramo asimoteng wantuaramo asimoteng wantuaramo asimot wantuaramo kimoteng 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 asambe kajene bathi Kimote, 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 Asabe kajene bathi,
Indabisingitala bongbamba ungithinta ungispina pine moyeni kala mothamba uyigcina uyijikisa le oneni mama kanti ubamba kanja kanti ubamba kanja kanti wena ubamba kanja ay indikala bongbamba ungithinta ungispina pine moyeni kala mothamba uyigcina uyijikisa le oneni mama kanti ubamba kanja Ubambaganja, kanti ubambaganja, ay
ntho tse o di etsang ha una tšhelete empa ntho tse o di etsang ke tsa batho ba na leng tšhelete ha una tšhelete ha o gole sharp mfanaka ha o gole sharp da sinokonoko ha siyo mono mo sebetsang
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
Hey man, that's Uncle Waffles with one titled Zenzele. Do it for yourself. It's 54 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. And we are going to be talking our Vintage Africa feature right now. And I was just doing a little bit of reading some other day, and I saw something remarkable that's coming back to the African continent. It seems like these processes of bringing back artifacts on the African continent is a continuous one, especially with France. There is a very interesting talking drum that is coming back from Ivory Coast. It's actually an Ivory Coast talking drum. It's titled the Gigi Ayokwe. It's a very beautiful drum. I've never seen a drum like this before, and it is got a very it's very like artistic, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a drum in a sense. It just looks like a drum, right? The head is a bit of a drum in itself, but then it's got like a leopard at the end of it. It's
a leopard.
A leopard sculptured on this wooden material, right? And it's very, very beautiful. I wish I could explain it how it looks. I'll send you the pictures, and maybe we'll see if we can put it up on our social media. But this talking drum was actually an artifact that was belonging to the Achan people of Ivory Coast. And just a few weeks ago, it was actually the French Parliament that passed a law for its official restitution to Ivory Coast. It was seized by the French colonial troops that stole it in 1916.
Wow. Now imagine, 1916 is
it's only coming back now.
Now in 2025.
And it was very interesting because this drum has a very cultural relevance to the people of Ivory Coast. Apparently, according to oral tradition, the drum was used to alert villagers of impending colonial forces who would try to recruit people for labor, for forced labor.
No matter why they stole the drum.
So these people are coming.
They wanted to colonize in peace, and they're like, let's take this drum. It's disturbing our colonialism. So we have to take it now and take it with us because it's disturbing us in the mission to colonize. It's alerting people that we're coming. I can see why they stole it.
Yeah, very interesting. It's the impressive wooden drum, approximately 3 meters long and weighs 430 kilograms. And it was actually very interesting because it would actually transmit messages up to 30 kilometers away to surrounding villages. That's how loud the sound was. Yeah. So it was not only for that, but it was also used to call community gatherings and warn people of danger, as we've highlighted. And it had a huge symbolism in terms of how it looked. It was a vessel of collective memory, dignity, and cultural identity. So we're really celebrating today the return of the Gigi Ayokwe drum. And the restitution of the drum is very important because it signifies, can we thank them for what's ours?
Thank you for bringing back what you stole from me. No, congratulations though to the Ivory Coast for receiving back their artifacts.
Yeah, fantastic. And man, keep looking out for these little snippets of cultural stories that are happening in different parts of the continent. You know, sometimes we just love the news feed and all the negative things that come out, but there's some fantastic things that make us who we are on the African continent that really reflect our true selves. So this is one of them. That's how we wrap up our Vintage Africa for today, and I hope that you enjoyed this one. Well, we're moving into our final hour of the show, and we're going to be talking our parenting corner today, and we're going to be looking at something very interesting. We're going to unpack how the architecture of schools and the shortage of space to play is undermining the well-being of children. I love that. Because, you know, children usually, I was raised like that, you know, you usually just find a concrete outside, and that's the street where you play. There's never like a designated
But what about
area.
at school? You know, in the schools,
I went
to a school with a designated play area.
I went to a white school,
Yeah.
the multiracial schools. Yes, there were designated areas right there. But like, you only spent like 1 hour in that playground.
True.
Or 45 minutes or so, and then you'd have to go home, and most of the time you're in the township, playing in the township, but there was really nowhere to play.
Yeah. Well, we'll unpack that, especially if the architecture of schools are changing. It's something that we all have to be concerned about. We'll take a look at that in the next hour of the show. For now, back to our news with Jolane Tulongwebe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Top stories this hour. Cameroon's government officials dismissed the opposition's elections claim victory, and African countries called upon to exercise substantive democracy. Good morning. Government officials in Cameroon have dismissed claims by opposition candidate Issa Chiroma that he has won the elections. The electoral body is only expected to announce the results after 15 days. In a speech posted on social media on Monday, Chiroma claimed victory and urged Biya, who is 92, is the world's oldest serving head of state, to concede defeat. Geopolitical analyst Aaron Ngambi says the officials are correct in principle to dismiss the claim.
Yeah, so the current minister, Poatangaji, is actually right in principle. He is saying that it is the role of the Constitutional Council to announce the final results. It is not the role of any candidates or political players to do that, because doing this could actually amount to treason. So he's not just threatening the opposition, the promising opposition candidate, but he is also just reminding him that by law, the right thing to do is to wait for the Constitutional Council to actually declare elections.
African countries have been called upon to exercise substantive democracy, governance insights. An analytics head at Good Governance Africa, Dr. Mabatu Mungai, says demand for democracy on the continent outweighs supply. Mungai spoke to Channel Africa on the need to restore accountability, social justice and indigenous governance traditions.
It's important that we differentiate between governance and democracy. And what we're hearing amongst Africans, even with the stats that you spoke about, in considering the difference between, the demand for democracy versus its supply, Africans are asking to be governed. And it's getting to a point whereby some would arguably say that how we are governed at this point in time, we are not as strict, if you look at what's happening in West Africa and so forth. But to your question on who is to dictate what the standard of democracy is when democracies or governance within these countries, be it Russia, be it China, be it USA, it's falling apart within these countries.
The chairperson of the Madlanga Commission in South Africa, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, has ruled that the media and the public will not sit in today's proceedings. It says this is because the subject matter is at the centre of the ongoing investigations. The media has not opposed the ruling to hold hearings in camera. The Commission is investigating allegations of criminality, political interference and corruption in the country's justice system. The South African National Defence Force, Border Management Authority and other stakeholders stationed at the Beitbridge border post outside Musina in the Limpopo province are today expected to present their challenges to Parliament's Joint Standing Committee on Defence. The committee is on an oversight visit to the border post. It visited numerous spots along the borderline near the Limpopo River yesterday. The chairperson of the committee, Dr. Malusi Kigaba, says that they will recommend that the Treasury Department allocates additional funds to the SANDF to enable it to reinforce its border patrols.
We will obviously write our reports to Parliament and raise these issues with the department as well as the SANDF, because one of the biggest challenges we are facing in this regard is the fact that the SANDF is severely underfunded.
And finally, the late Virginia Giuffre has accused Prince Andrew of believing it was his birthright to have sex with her. That's according to extracts from her new book published posthumously. Giuffre, who took her life in April, was the most prominent victim of the sex abuser Jeffrey Epstein. Giuffre said she was obliged to have sex with friends of Epstein, including the Duke of York. Prince Andrew has always strongly denied wrongdoing. The BBC's Laura Trott has the story.
In 2001, at the age of 17, Virginia Giuffre said Jeffrey Epstein introduced her to Prince Andrew, who she alleged sexually abused her 3 times. In terms of what is said about the prince in the book, the allegations and details we have heard before during her court appearances and media interviews. But what is different is the language around it. Her description of him being friendly enough but still entitled. Prince Andrew reached an out-of-court settlement with Ms Giuffre in 2022, which contained no admission of liability or apology.
Recapping the top story, the Sawa government officials in Cameroon have dismissed claims by opposition candidate Issa Chiroma that he has won the elections. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Okay, we are going to have our parenting and family corner right now. We're going to be corresponding to a guest joining us all the way from Kenya, in the heart of the urban Kenya, from Nairobi's crowded estates to sprawling public schools. Children are losing something essential: space to play. How devastating is this? We're going to be speaking to Louis Karanja, a child psychologist, to see, what are the deficits of having less playtime and play space in our schools. I really loved the class. I really loved being able to hide from my friends. I would, just rolling in the grass was always a fun thing to do. And, I had a teacher, who would make these unconventional decisions sometimes, like, no. Today, for this period, we're actually going to go and explore the jungle gym, So we would be out in the jungle gym while everyone else is in class. We used to love her.
You're right. There was also a teacher that I remember. It used to be my favorite time, reading outside.
Oh, yes.
So during the English class, you'd go and, have books because they were prescribed books. But then we'd go and sit outside to do the reading. That was very fun. I loved doing that.
Yes, so we're going to be looking at that. What are the benefits of child play, especially in place designated for play, because sometimes we force areas to be for play that are not meant for play. Yeah, man, stay in touch with us for that one. Maybe you have questions for Louis. Remember that WhatsApp number is still there for you, +27 63 406 9126. That's where you can find us. Remember, we're also live in our live streams. If you haven't been there, come join us and we'll give you a shout out as soon as you enter in, and let us know where you are checking out Channel Africa from. You can find that live stream on our Facebook page. It is going to pop up as soon as you get on our Facebook page. Subscribe as well. Become part of the Channel Africa community. And also, you can find it on YouTube. They run simultaneously at the same time, so you can decide, hey man, do I want to check this out on YouTube or do I have access to Facebook? It might be easier for you there, so we make sure that those platforms are there for you. Come into the studio. We want you to also be part of the studio experience.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
Yeah. Mid up on a teen, yeah. Boomba and Stone Cold. Yeah. Brown skin girl, I'm for me. Take life, don't chase money. If you go, I greet mommy. I greet mommy. It's not funny. You know I get money. Bad girls, they fall for me. But I can see something inside you, and I want to explore what defines you. I can see something inside you. If you let me in your life, you'll be those happy child. Nobody fight past you. Madi dede, so bad. Nobody fight past you. Madi dede, so bad. Your body, I'm addicted. I'm addicted. For your body, I'm addicted. Yeah. Too bad. For your body, I'm addicted. I'm addicted. Too bad. Girl, I am serious. I see the loving in your eyes, and I'm curious. And I wanna know if you feel me too. Don't be shy. Yeah. Tell me what you need. Me money never greedy. That's them rub up on you right now. You alone please me. Make me tease it. That's them rub up on you right now.
Hey, celebrating some African melanin there. That's brown skin, Kamido and Stone Boy on that one. It's 10 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. We're going to speak all things parenting after the break.
Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin, fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Okay, in the heart of urban Kenya, it seems like we are seeing a loss of something very essential for the little ones, space to play. Despite legal requirements that school must include playgrounds for registration, many fail to meet the standards. While experts are saying that the result is more than just an elbow room problem, it's a growing crisis for physical, mental, and social health. When children can't play, explore, and connect outdoors, their development is compromised. We unpack how this architecture of our schools actually is important, and not having it can undermine the well-being of children. Louis Karanja is joining us on the line, a child psychologist. Louis, welcome here on Channel Africa. Louis, can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us here on Channel Africa. It's something that we want to know about. What's happening in Kenya when it comes to space to play? It seems like there's a concern around this issue.
Yes, there's a concern in Kenya because a lot of schools, you find they have been built in a certain piece of land, and there's no place for the children to play. There are no swings, so most of the time they are cooked up in their classrooms and they're not able to play. So that's a very major concern because a lot of schools in Kenya, a lot of individuals have built schools and they have not put away some space for the children to be able to play.
And that could be taken lightly. Like, you know what? Children are not going to school to play. They're going to school to learn. But that's a big misconception, isn't it, Louis?
Yes, it is. But we normally say that no play makes Jack a dull boy. So even if the children are learning, they need to have that space to be able to interact, to play, and just to create their safe space in school.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about the kind of space that's needed for children to play. What would you recommend as a child psychologist?
All right. So in my own perspective, I will categorize children, since children are different. A 7-year-old is different, has a different capacity of thinking from a 12-year-old. Now, in terms of the setting of how the playground should be, so it should be able to incorporate all the children, from the little children now from 4 years, 5 years to a child who is 12, 13 years, so that they can be able, even if they won't play together, they'll be able to have that space to be able to play their own games. So just having a playground is really big and free, so that each and every child can be able to maneuver and they can be able to play whichever game they are comfortable in.
You know, the spotlight of this conversation essentially goes back to the fact that we need to remember the importance of play for children and how play also, increases the development of children. This is not just a factor that I've seen in Kenya. In fact, I've always wondered when I was younger, when you go to Central Business District, whether it's here in the Johannesburg CBD, you'll find schools there in tall buildings, in skyscrapers, and I always wonder to myself, so where do these children play? Because it's not exactly like, a school with a lot of land. It's on a building with stories up. So there's no grass. There are no play areas, no designated places like you would in a conventional school with a huge playground with grass featured there. Let's come back and speak about that essentially. That's the importance of play for children and how it is part of the natural development of children. Speak to us about that, Lewis.
All right. So majorly the importance of having a playground for children. The first thing is for the children to be able to build on their cognitive skills. Now, by cognitive, I mean them solving problems, resolving their conflict between their peers, and if they have a conflict between the teacher, just having those skills. And the other thing is just having social skills. Now, just like an adult, also children, they need to build on their social skills. How to interact with their fellow peers, how are they supposed to play. Even in play, there's usually a certain procedure. You don't just get into a game. You have to learn the rules. So basically the social skills. And the other thing is on the stress reduction. So whenever a child is playing, there are chemicals and also hormones in their body that are usually produced, the happy hormones that are usually produced whenever they are stressed, now depending in the environment that the child is stressed in. So if it is at home, they are having stress which is related back at home or in school, it is usually relieved. Then the most important of all is physical health, because you find that a child is able to exercise. So when we're talking about diseases like obesity, or if they're having any physical challenges to do with their bones or physical health, you'll find that it will continue improving when they have that time to play and adequate space to play in school.
That phrase adequate space is an interesting one, right? Because,
yes.
You can't have adequate space in concrete. You can't have adequate space where there is dangerous equipment around for children. So the quality of that space is also important. Could you elaborate on that?
Okay, so by space, you can find the space might be small. The school can be built like what you are saying in a concrete place. Probably it has it's just concrete, but it has a really small space. Now that small space, it will be really hard because not all children will be able to access the playground. So you might find that the little ones will be able to access, since for them they don't learn too much. And you see now for the older children who are if you are to put an age to it, 7, 8, 9 years, you'll find that they'll be cooked up in their classes and they won't be allowed to play. So the space needs to be really, really big to accommodate all the children. So during the break, all of them, they need to be in that particular playground. They don't have to go in shifts, because in Kenya, I've seen schools that they have to go in shifts. So if it is in Kenya, in the Kenyan perspective, if a child is in grade 1, you find that during their break time, they only have 10 minutes to use the playground, then they go back to class so that the others can come back in.
Wow, that's so interesting, especially the fact that you highlight that in Kenya, in some schools, they go to shifts just to get that outside experience. We'll continue to speak about the benefits or what also can be done to change this. But I'm also interested in how much time they should be out there playing outside and actually getting that outside experience during their schooling. Lewis, stay there on the line. We're having a great guest from Kenya joining us to speak about the Kenyan situation, but I'm sure all countries can actually learn from this one. Lewis Karanja is a child psychologist. We'll come back to him after the break.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Hashtag on the move
And connect with us.
How is the new architecture of schools across the continent, in Kenya in particular, in today's conversation, and the shortage of space really impacting the choice or the ability for children to play, and of course undermining their well-being because of that? We're still speaking to Lewis Karanja, child psychologist, joining us from Kenya to have this conversation. Lewis, you know, at the end of the day, there are certain reasons why this is taking place. Space is a factor, of course, and children still need education. Perhaps there aren't enough schools, and you know, the schools that are able to be there don't have that playful that space for play, or that space to create playgrounds. But what's the middle ground here? What exactly can be done if we do still want our children to be in school, but we don't want them to not have access to certain developmental needs that they have, like play? What's the middle point?
Okay. So an alternative of what can be done if you find a school has a limited space and there's no way out, so they can't find anything else. One thing they can do is to incorporate now, like the younger children between the ages of 4 to 7 years, because for them they thrive a lot playing with dolls, having that imaginative play. What can be done is the teacher can be able to incorporate that in class. Now, like having the imaginative play with the dolls, with the toys, so that they can be able, the teachers can be able to reignite that safe space, and they can be able now to mold that child, so that in terms of their cognitive skills, because whenever they are playing, there's something that you can be able to teach them. Now, just like a moral story. If you teach them something to do with conflict, you can be able to do that. Then the other thing is hiring a different place, like a playground that is nearby the school. So like the school head can talk to the community, or to someone who has the authority of now giving them a place for the children to play, so that there can be a specific day that the children will have now, like a PE, a day that each and every class can be able to be incorporated and they can go and play. So we say like a day like Thursday, you can say like the grade ones will go to this particular playground, and the other day the other classes will just follow.
I like
So
that.
basically just incorporating and using
Yeah.
what you have in the community and also in the society.
I love that, you know, also giving also public space a different meaning, and how children can also use that public space. Something that we haven't interrogated yet with you, Lewis, is, you know, what happens if you don't provide this public outside space or playgrounds for children to play? What are the consequences of that?
Okay. So on the consequences, something that I don't normally like talking about. So let's start with we talked about the cognitive skills. So a child will not be able to work through a conflict. So whenever they're in a conflict, since most of the time they're in class, they are not able to go out and play with their peers or with their friends. So most of the time you'll hear of fights in school, there'll be strikes. The other thing, there will be a behavioral problem. So a child, you'll find that they're struggling with anger issues, they're not able to manage their anger. For the other students, you'll find that they'll have picked up some vulgar language, because in class you'll find that there are a lot of fights, a lot of confrontation also with the teacher and also the students, since most of the time you see they're having a lot of interactions and they don't have that time apart with the teacher. The other thing will be anxiety. You'll find that a child will really be anxious. Now, the anxiety is coming in because this child is not having time outside classroom, because they are just thinking about how am I going to answer a question in the next subject. I don't like this teacher. I don't like this subject. This sum is too difficult for me. You see, now the anxiety keeps building up. And now it can also lead to depression for the severe cases. You find that a student will have a lot of negative feelings towards school, towards their teacher, towards even the subjects that they are doing. So it will be really difficult for that child.
You know,
Then
Lewis.
lastly,
Yeah. Please
yes.
continue. Yes, go
And
ahead.
lastly will be the physical health. You'll find that they'll also struggle with the obesity, since they are not going out to play and they are not having the physical exercise.
Lewis, those are a lot of impacts that might happen, and we're already struggling with something that is quite worrisome right now, and that's cell phones and technology. These children always stuck in their phones, and I'm afraid with this limited space in schools to play, that's the only avenue that children are going to. Let's speak about some of the long-term impacts, right? Maybe just in school, as you just spoke, those could be the impacts, but in the long run, if children don't pay enough and their development is slowed down, I guess, those parts of their development are slowed down, what could be the long-time life impacts for those children in the future?
All right, an interesting one. I don't know if you've heard of a midlife crisis of an adult.
Yes, I have.
Now that is what will happen. That is what will happen to these particular children. Now for them, they will now start acting as children, as adults. Now they will want to play the games that they played as a child, since they didn't have that. So in a psychology term we usually use is that we'll say that that child is fixated, since at that time they didn't get that play at that time. Now they'll now start playing, they'll be confused. Now they'll have the childlike behavior as an adult, since they were not able to show it, they didn't play, so they didn't act as a child back then. Because you see now in school, in the class setting, the teacher wants you to stay on your seat, do as they say, and you can't do anything contrary to what you have been told. So basically, that child will have a lot of midlife crisis. So in terms of their behavior, they'll now start acting up. You'll find that they have a behavior that you wouldn't find in an adult. Now, like playing with dolls, being interested in more activities that children would want to play.
All right, Lewis, as we wrap things up, what would your recommendation be? I mean, these schools already exist. They don't have enough space as is. What sort of extracurricular activities can be put in play for these children to still experience the play that is necessary for their growth and development?
So my recommendation will be, if there is a limited space for the schools, they should at least have a time for the children to play either once or twice in a week, so that the children can be able to have that particular time to play on their own and to just interact with themselves. Then the other thing is to engage the community and also the society and also the key stakeholders, so that they can be able to know that this school is situated here. What is the nearby playground that this particular school can use, or can they share with another school that is nearby? So basically engaging the key stakeholders so that they can create more awareness and find adequate space for schools that don't have the playgrounds.
Well, it's been a good conversation, Lewis. Thank you so much for helping us on this one. It's a very important one, especially as we see less and less space happening in our urban areas. This might be a phenomenon that we start seeing more often all across the African continent, and there need to be ways to help these children to still develop and grow as is necessary. Thank you for your time, Lewis.
You're welcome.
That's child psychologist Lewis Karanja. What do you think about this one? If there isn't enough space for children to play in schools, in the playground, what should be the alternative to help with their growth and development? Let us know. This is also your conversation at Channel Africa 1. It's 11:30. Once again, time for our latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
In our sports update this time, we kick off with football news. FIFA women's football technical expert Tubelihle Bridget Sibanda has called on the Liberia Football Association LFA to develop an official brand name for the country's senior women's national team. She says a unique identity would elevate its visibility and inspire more girls to take up the sport. Sibanda, a Zimbabwean who served as lead facilitator of a week-long FIFA-funded capacity-building workshop for women's football stakeholders, says Liberia's women's team deserves a distinctive brand that mirrors the men's Lone Star identity, but reflects its own vision and values. She added that the proposed brand should embody the LFA's strategic priorities while aligning with Liberia's broader cultural identity. Currently, all of Liberia's national football teams, including the youth sides, carry the name Lone Star, often creating confusion among sports journalists and fans. Morocco has qualified for the grand final of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup after overcoming France in an epic and a tense semi-final that was decided by a penalty shootout. After 120 minutes of intensity, the score remained a tied 1-1, forcing a dramatic finish where the young Atlas Lions demonstrated unbreakable mental strength. With a final result of 4-2 in the penalties and Morocco making history, they will now face Argentina in the final. Some more football news so far. South African Football Association NEC member Pubi Governatami has praised Hugo Broos for leading the team to its first World Cup tournament since South Africa hosted the showpiece in 2010. Bafana Bafana qualified for its first FIFA World Cup since 2002. The convincing 3-0 win over Rwanda in Mbombela sealed Bafana's qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the Americas. Governatami says Bafana Bafana will be powerhouse not only in Africa but on the global stage if they can get the same funding as the country's national rugby and cricket teams.
That if government spends more money on South African football, like all the white businesses spend money on rugby and cricket, we can be a powerhouse not only in Africa but in the world at large. We have the players, we have the talent, we have the administrators. Some people say we don't. We do have them throughout the country, 52 regions, many of the LFAs, and they're doing a great job despite the fact that there's not enough money coming through in South Africa.
On to rugby news. The World Rugby Governing Body, SANZA, have confirmed that there will be international rugby tours happening over the next 5 years, meaning the Rugby Championship will not take place next year. The governing body announced its schedule until 2030 and opened the way for the planned New Zealand tour of South Africa next year, which is said to be announced later this week. And finally, with hockey news, South African hockey men's captain Dayan Kasim says they are happy to have finally kicked off their 2026 FIH World Cup qualifying journey on a positive note after their opening match was a walkover. South Africa were due to face Zambia in the 2025 Men's Hockey Africa Cup of Nations campaign opener at the weekend, but the opponents failed to pitch in Ismaila, Egypt, resulting in a 5-0 walkover. But getting their first taste of action in a 3-1 win over Kenya on Sunday was enough to settle the nerves after being taken aback by the Zambians' no-show.
It is a bit frustrating because, you really we had 2 trainings before the tournament, and of course Zambia not arriving, it makes you feel a bit like, oh my god, what are we doing here, type of thing. But then of course we played against Kenya, and I think it wasn't our best performance, but I think 3 points is always important against a team like Kenya, who's really fit and strong and just runs a lot. So I think to be honest, everyone's in a good space and it's going well.
For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
Qu'est-ce qui vous a amené à dire ça? Est-ce que vous avez observé un certain nombre d'événements dans la vie? Est-ce que c'était par rapport à une expérience? Est-ce que vous avez rencontré des choses qui vous ont dit il faut de la patience, comme ça les choses vont venir au bon moment et les bons dieux pourra peut-être me visiter?
Oui, c'était justement un conseil que le Seigneur m'avait inspiré pour donner à son peuple, parce qu'il y a la plupart des gens, pendant que Dieu bénit les autres, ils pensent que Dieu les a oubliés, et pendant que Dieu ouvre pour les autres, ils pensent que peut-être Dieu n'a pas pu écouter leurs prières. Alors, ce n'est pas le cas. Alors, Dieu bénit tout un chacun de nous avec son temps. Donc, le temps de Dieu est toujours le meilleur dans la vie de tout un chacun de nous.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
Thank you, Figile Lungwati. Let's get our latest business news now with Buntle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Palesa. Good morning. And our final look at the business news this morning. Our top story, Libya's central bank says the country's oil revenues reached $14.65 billion during the first 9 months of 2025. The bank says this highlights the continued dominance of hydrocarbons in the national economy. Libya's total public revenue stood at $17.48 billion, with oil sales alone accounting for $14.65 billion of that. Royalties contributed an additional $2.47 billion, while non-oil revenues remained comparatively low. Tax revenues totaled $184.8 million and telecoms revenues $9.5 million. Despite its solid oil income, Libya continues to face structural fiscal challenges because of its oversized public sector and limited economic diversification. The Tunisian government will request an exceptional direct funding from the central bank worth $3.7 billion again in 2026. According to the country's budget bill, the move is aimed at filling the fiscal deficit given the scarcity of external financing. The government in 2025 resorted to borrowing $2.3 billion to repay urgent debts in a move that experts warned could push the country into a spiral of inflation. Tunisia will need internal and external financing amounting to $9.24 billion in 2026. The Pretoria High Court in South Africa has struck off the urgent court rule case brought by the dissolved South African Tourism Board against Minister Patricia de Lille. The ousted board had approached the court on an urgent basis, seeking to be reinstated following de Lille's decision to dissolve it in August. A key reason given for the move was an unauthorized meeting without a duly appointed chairperson purportedly held earlier that month, which the board denies. Former board members claim that this is a fabrication used to justify its dissolution and to protect South African Tourism CEO Nombulelo Guliwe from accountability. The minister has welcomed the court's decision.
In the meantime, already on the 10th of October, I have gazetted a call for an advertisement with a call for South Africans to nominate eligible, suitable candidates. I will then take it to the process of interviews and shortlisting, whereafter I then take my recommendations to Cabinet for consideration.
Chinese state media has issued a 7-point rebuttal to U.S. calls for Beijing to wind back its rare earth controls as both sides struggle to move beyond a volley of barbs and accusations of blindsiding the other. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer yesterday called China's new rare earth export restrictions a global supply chain power grab. He suggested that Beijing could stave off President Donald Trump's threat to reimpose triple-digit tariffs on Chinese goods by shelving the measures set to take effect on the 8th of November. Beijing, on the other hand, maintains it not only notified Washington before announcing the new licensing regime, but that controls are also consistent with measures long in place in other major economies. Moving on to the indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,460 naira this morning. In Botswana, it's trading at 13 pula 26. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling and 8. And in Zambia, it's at 22 kwacha 52. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 46 in Russia. It's trading at 78 rubles 88. India, 88 rupees 15. In China, it's at 7 yuan 13. And in South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 32 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,233 and platinum at $1,672 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $62.49 a barrel. And those are your business news this morning. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Hetbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Zilipendwa na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Leo tujadili kuhusu chipukizi wanaoimba nyimbo za wasanii wengine. Unadhani hili linatokana na nini, Omari?
Nadhani kweli kwamba tukizama muziki ya sasa, hasa wasanii ambao ni chipukizi, kwa kweli kwamba yani karibu kutoka muziki wao wenyewe, lakini wanakuwa wanataka kuhubiria muziki ya zamani hizo muziki ya wengine ambao ni taimbo.
Wengine wanadai kufanya hivyo ni kupromote vipaji vyao haraka ili waweze kujulikana. Je, yawezekana kukawa na ukweli wowote au ndio kukosa kabisa kipaji cha kuandika mistari?
Ndio, unaona kwamba msanii anapoazimia kwamba kuchukua wimbo mwingine wa msanii mwingine na kurudia mara mbili studio, haionyeshi kwamba yani ndio wanaanza kazi ya muziki aizalini, lakini ukiangalia kabisa asilimia kubwa utakuta kwamba wanakosa ile mawazo ya kutunga muziki.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
But I told you, like, the African boys is different, yeah? Innit? Now you in love, innit? It's deep, innit? Yeah, and I be in Mayfair with my London ting. We don't play fair, so what kind of chase? I call it my Prada miss, cause about 8 grand, baby, knock your feet. Knock your feet. Knock your feet. Yeah, baby, knock your feet. Baby, knock your feet. Knock your feet. Baby, nah. Yeah. She said she wanna go to Malibu. I do everything she wanna do. So I used to black card private wealth just to fly her through. You know everything comfortable. Told her meet me at the airport. Meet me at the airport. Nah, better yet, baby girl, won't you meet me at the clearport? Let's fly private. You ain't gotta pack a damn thing. What you think is fucking casual?
Now that I found love like this, seldomly does come around. I want to feel it. Please let me know if you're intentionally touching my soul. Sweet smell, sweet, sweet smell, smell, 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 sweet smell, sweet, sweet smell.
There goes my street cred. I mean, I never saw myself shooting TikTok challenges about.
Hey, we're getting ready for the weekend. It feels like Friday is just around the corner with the music right here on Channel Africa. That's Summer Love by Casper Nyovest and Ray. And also you had Sands with Digi Digi. It's 11:50 Central African time. We're about to let our next team in. There's so many things happening, and I'm sure that you're watching the situation in Kenya there as Raila Odinga's body has just arrived in the country, and you're going to get those updates definitely from Africa Update. We'll find out what they have for us later.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Novunga.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Channel Africa and you have got something in common. The thirst for knowledge.
This is my decision. I don't think you listen. You listen. I don't think you listen. For for me to come out, it must mean I'm a teacher. It must mean I'm not the same. It must mean I'm on your case. For me to come out, it means that I'm not the job. I want to show you my world. Give me one break, I need faith. Faith to believe you, faith to receive you. Give me something I'm lacking. I don't need nothing. You are my everything. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only me, only you. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only make me your matter. Make me your matter. Make me your matter. Show me something. Make me a person. Make me a person. Give me one break, I need faith. Faith to believe you. Faith to receive you. Give me something I'm lacking. I don't need nothing. You are my everything. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only me and you. Only me, only you. Only me and 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 you. Only me
Hey, it's been a good one. That is the one by Thames, Me and You. We've had a wonderful experience in these 3 hours of learning together right here on The Move. Let's quickly move things on. Remember, we are going to be crossing outside of the studios today in Midrand once again. Let's find out what Lulu is getting up to there. Hey, Lulu, how's it going?
Hello, hello, hello. We always have fun when we're out and about in different places. It's, day 2. The plenary is on, the sessions are on, people are talking about different topics today. We are at the 14th Oppenheimer Research and Conference that is taking place for the next 3 days. Started yesterday. A lot of excitement, and today is the awards day. There will be a winner of a certain amount of money. I'm not sure of the figures this year, but it is quite a lump sum, and it will go into their research and the work that they do. I'm hoping that we are going to speak to this person. We're going to be speaking to him or her tomorrow. We don't know who it is yet, but there's a lot of excitement with regards to that. And I remember last year when we spoke to a professor, I just can't remember her name. I hope Tracy will remind me, but she was so gobsmacked. She couldn't believe that she'd won, and she didn't even know what to say with regards to how she was going to use the money and so on. But a lot of it goes back into the work that they do and the research that they do, because they don't work alone. They work with a team of people. So there's a lot of excitement on that front. And also, apart from this conference that is underway, Madagascar has erupted. We've been speaking about it for a couple of weeks now, and finally it has has literally exploded. And we are going to be speaking to Toki, who has been chatting to us for a number of days now and just giving us updates as to exactly what is unfolding on the ground and what they're hoping will happen. Another coup. I mean, Rajoelina had come into power through a coup, and now it seems like it's history repeating itself, and the AU has come out and condemned Madagascar and on what is happening and unfolding. So a lot happening on that front. A lot of countries have come out and calling for peace to prevail. So it is going to be an interesting one, and we are going to be speaking to a number of people here also at the conference as the day progresses, because when they're in those plenaries, it takes a lot of time for them to come out and really chat to us and give us the attention. But hopefully it will be another good day at this conference. So all that and more coming up today.
Well, thank you so much, Lulu. Lulu is at the 14th Oppenheimer Research Conference, which is a leading platform for natural and environmental science and has been convened by the Oppenheimer Generations Research and Conservation. So we're looking forward to that one. We're getting out of here. It's been a good one. Tomorrow is a Friday, so we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. But stay with us right here on Channel Africa. Still a lot more coming up on the station.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Let's do it again tomorrow. Have a great day, Africa.
God bless everyone.
I know him very well from Belgium, and first of all, I can say he's a very nice person.
Day, and this is Africa Update coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on DSTV's audio bouquet channel 802, OpenView channel 628, and on www.channelafrica.com.